Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my... I should have planned this. Welcome to my smarter co-host, Frank.
Yup.
Damn.
I don't even know if I'd agree with that. After all that, I'm not sure I agree I'm smarter. But all right. Hi, buddy.
Hi, how are
How's
you?
it going?
It's good.
Good.
It's good. It's good.
Excellent.
We're off to a great start.
We are off to a great start.
Yeah.
Well, we did see a great movie.
Yeah, we did. We did.
This is kind of our spoiler special.
This is our Star Wars spoiler special.
For Star Wars.
Yeah, there's no
Awakens,
sense in
right?
burying the lead to this.
No, there really isn't.
No, it's gonna...
I mean, they've already read the title.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. I probably named it spoiler special.
You did it, yeah, right.
Star Wars: The Force
probably.
Awakens.
Yeah, so why are we batting around the subject?
Future Frank, if you didn't already, now you're going to. So
yeah,
there you
right,
go.
Good. Perfect. Problem solved. All right.
Note to future self.
So you've seen this movie how many times?
4 times.
4 times.
Yes.
Okay. And I have also seen it 4 times.
Very good.
Yep. So a little bit fortuitously, I think, because I had purchased tickets for 2. And I saw 2 kind of,
So your intention was to see it twice, and then 3 and 4 kind of happened.
Yeah, 3 and 4 kind of happened.
And you have a 5th one planned, don't you?
Yeah, by this comes out, I think I'll have seen it the 5th time. Yeah, which would have been my 3rd time, but
Would have been, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So when you first saw it, what was your first reaction?
So there's the obvious, I see the Lucasfilm logo, I get excited. I see the crawl, I get excited. The movie actually starts, and my thought was this feels like the successor to Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It feels like what a Star Wars movie 30 years later would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of taking the prequels out of the equation, not only because it's sort of from in a different tradition, but it's also in terms of succession of
right.
5, 6, 7, right? Taking them out of the equation for a second, it feels like, if this was the next Star Wars, next chapter in the saga, this is what it would look like.
Interesting.
So overall, I think there are some things where it strays a little bit, and it's like, oh, this is clearly a J.J. Abrams movie, and not necessarily this feels like a Star Wars movie. There are moments, but overall, I think, and we can talk about, I have some specifics, but overall, I felt like this was a really great, I felt like my old friends were back. Seeing the old characters again and seeing new characters that reminded me of old characters or in the way that old characters were established.
Mm-hmm.
I felt
old plot lines.
Or old plot lines, yes.
Yeah.
It felt very familiar. Familiar is, if I had to describe it in one word.
That's good. Familiar is good.
How about you, though?
I honestly, I didn't love it the first time I saw it.
Okay.
I walked out going, that was good. I've definitely seen that movie before.
Okay.
And so, but going back, I think that was because I was trying to absorb everything the first time. You've seen a lot of people talk about this already, that
Yes.
you're trying to get everything.
Yeah.
And by trying to get everything, you're missing a lot.
Yeah. It's very, in some ways very simple. Like the plot itself, you just describe the plot to someone.
It's very simple.
It's very simple, and it will sound very familiar.
Yep.
But actually watching it, there's some intricacies that you really do need to kind of rewatch. It bears rewatching a few times.
Yeah, I agree.
To absorb everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there were a lot of questions I had going in that the movie didn't answer, and I think that's why I left a little okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I agree, but I actually like that.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah.
But in the instant gratification, I just wanted to know. I'm not even talking about where does Rey come from
Sure.
or anything like that. It has more to do with like how does the Republic form after?
That's true.
That's the stuff that I was really interested in knowing. And the movie is decidedly non-political.
Yes, and that's because of fan feedback.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a reaction.
They take out the Hosnian system, which is not Coruscant.
Not Coruscant.
It's the Hosnian.
I missed it the first time. I thought like, was that Coruscant? Was it not Coruscant? They didn't make it a big enough deal for it to be Coruscant. And then the second or third time, I was like, oh, Hosnian. Okay, got it.
And that's the stuff that like that first time I was like, well, was it or wasn't it? Just like
how am I supposed to feel?
A lot of it didn't feel clear the first time, and I mean that provides on a lot of things a rewatchability because if they stop and explain everything,
right,
then you don't feel like you're living in a real world. You feel, or you're watching a real world. You feel like you're watching a movie that's explaining things to you very slowly.
Yes, that's true.
When there's too much exposition, and this movie lacks a lot of it. Which is good for conversation. It's good for rewatch value, and so. But that first time, I left wanting. Also, because all I wanted to see was Luke Skywalker.
I know, me too.
All I wanted to see was Luke Skywalker, and it delivered for 30 seconds.
It did,
which is fine. I don't have a problem with that
either.
As the movie stands on its own, but it's like when I watched Daredevil on Netflix. All I wanted to see him in was the red suit.
Right.
So I marathoned the whole show so the internet wouldn't spoil it for me.
Right.
And I saw the red suit, and then I felt like I could relax in it. But that was the end of the show.
Yeah.
And that was the same way I felt about this. All I wanted to see was Luke Skywalker. And I had to wait 2 hours and 14 minutes and a 2 hour and 16 minute movie
true.
or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's okay. And so upon second viewing, knowing that I had seen him, I'm like, okay, I can just go in and watch that. Fortunately, I saw it on Thursday at 7:30, and then I saw it at 2:30 on the Friday.
Okay.
So I didn't have to wait that late.
No, you really didn't.
I didn't wait. I went home. I basically chatted with my friend, went to bed, got up, went to work. We had a half day because of the holiday,
and then went to see it again.
And then went to see it again.
Nice.
So
nice.
yeah. So that was okay, but let's just. There's no format here. Let's bat around some specifics because there's a lot of stuff out on the internet already. But I want to feel like we can get past those little things because we haven't really talked about Star Wars. We haven't talked about it at all.
No, we haven't. I've been kind of saving my thoughts for this.
Yeah, right.
So we haven't talked about it with each other. No.
Yeah, but let's try to get past like the regular little internet.
Sure, what everyone else is talking about.
Let's see if we can find something that's unique to us that one person will listen to.
We'll see about that. But
yeah.
All right, let's start with this. Let's start where people are not usually starting. Let's start with General Organa.
Okay.
Because I haven't heard a lot of people start there. So just to be different, like you're saying, let's start there.
Okay.
So here's a character who we've not seen in 30 years.
Right.
Who has gone off and done her own thing and has, by her own admission, done what she knows best. Like gone back to doing what she knows best.
That's right.
Which is to
lead
a
rebellion.
Right. Exactly.
Of some, of course. Leading some kind of army.
Right. Yeah.
Guerrilla tactical fighters.
Yeah. Exactly. And I thought this was Princess Leia. This was Princess Leia again. Like this was. It helps that Lawrence Kasdan wrote the movie with Abrams. It was just like, oh, hello, old friend, you're back. It was very much just there she is again.
Yeah, she was a Leia that has been hurt too. It's
yes,
like
she was a little more subdued.
Yeah, she's subdued. But that look that she gives Han Solo as soon as she steps off the carrier, that like.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, that was real nice.
I had a bunch of those moments when the two of them see each other. Is one.
It's so weird they didn't kiss. I'm just gonna I thought that was weird.
I thought so, but they clearly are the love of each other's lives.
Yes, I agree. Then it doesn't have to
be that. It doesn't need to be a physically expressive, passionate love, but it is a deep.
That happens when
love.
You get older too.
Yeah, I think it's more
physical.
It's a mature.
Yeah,
they love and care for one another. Very deeply.
You don't think that was part of Harrison Ford's contract? He's like, I'll be back, but I won't kiss her.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
I think it wouldn't have been the wrong choice to do it, but it was a fine choice not to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But just seeing them see each other for the first time, gave me chills, got me a little choked up. I'm not gonna lie. Each time we saw a familiar character again, I got a little bit like I had that I had goosebumps every time when we saw Han the first time. We saw the Falcon the first time, and when we saw Luke.
Luke is the only one that gave me some kind of chill.
Really,
the rest of them, for whatever reason, I was like, "Yep, there they are."
I mean, I knew they were all going to be in it.
Yeah, of course, that wasn't a mystery.
But still, seeing them, I was just like, "Oh my god, it's Star Wars."
Yeah,
like,
it's so weird. I didn't get that feeling once in four viewings. Not once was I like, except for Luke, and I think the Millennium Falcon, because I didn't expect it. Like
at that moment.
It sets you up for the moment. Like it's garbage. Well, the garbage will do.
Yeah.
And it sets you up, and I didn't expect it, and that was really nice.
Interesting.
But no, there really wasn't a moment that I was like, "Oh, characters I've seen before."
Yeah,
it's very strange. I don't know, but I always feel that way. Like people freaked out when they saw the Avengers together for the first time on screen. I'm like, "Yep, there they are."
Yeah, I didn't feel that way either.
Yeah, that's just how I am with most movies.
Okay,
there's a separation for me.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But those moments of familiarity, I don't normally get the feeling either. But this was just such a long time coming, and something that I had just closed my mind. This was never going to happen. When I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters, I was like, this is the last time I'll see a Star Wars movie for the first time. This is my first viewing of a Star Wars movie.
Yep.
And I was so positive about it. People were saying, maybe they'll do 7, 8, 9. No, there's no way. I was 100%, 1,000% positive. This is the last Star Wars movie ever. Let's enjoy it. And 10 years later, here we are, and there's a new Star Wars movie and a whole new franchise being
out.
And I was so certain that it was over that to have it to be wrong, I've never been happier to be wrong. So I was so thrilled. I was so ecstatic.
This is not related. Do you know what I just realized?
What?
We're not drinking beer.
I did notice that.
We were so ready. I was so ready.
We've been
to talk about Star Wars.
We forgot to grab beers.
Wow. Welcome to Beer with Geeks, where we're sober. Well, for the reference, there's Guinness Stout and Sam Winter in my fridge,
all right,
so
cool.
we will be drinking that after this.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how we were to talk.
Oh, there's a Nitro Stout in there too for you. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, that's my observation for the evening. Anyway, or daytime, or whenever you listen to this. Who am I to tell you when you listen to this?
Does that make this just with geeks?
This is just welcome to With Geeks, where two geeks just geek out because that's something.
Because we do.
Because that's what geeks do. Anyway,
so that's Leia. That's a little bit of Han. What was something that gave you like a big reaction?
Snoke gave me a big reaction.
Okay. So what's Snoke?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I'll go back to Star Trek 2009.
Yes,
when Nero's ship comes out of the hole and you see the difference between the difference in sizes at the beginning of the movie.
Sure,
between the Kelvin, yeah, the Kelvin and his ship, and I'm oh my god, that gave me a moment. And seeing Snoke as large as he is gave me that moment. I was like, oh, that's new. That's new for a Star Wars anything. I've never never seen a character that size in Star Wars ever.
Yeah, really, there's really nothing ever been. No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the CG was lacking, but
on
Snoke, they had apparently decided what he was going to look like very late, and so they didn't have as much time to render him.
Is that why he was a hologram, or was that always the?
That was always the idea, but he doesn't. He's not the same caliber as Maz Kanata,
right? Agreed.
Because they didn't have as much time to render him because they spent too long deciding what he was going to look like.
Interesting.
Apparently.
Okay. Interesting.
Let's talk about him. He's obviously Darth Plagueis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not. That is a prevailing theory.
Yeah.
That is a prevailing theory. I think so. I'm leaning towards yeah.
Yeah.
But there's always like a 15% chance that he's not.
Yeah. there's just a lot there to pinpoint, even stuff that's been online and in the books. And I know you haven't read the novels. I'm almost finished the novelization, and I have the encyclopedia and art book in front of me. I'm going to talk about things that are in them because it sheds more light into to the grander world.
Okay.
So this isn't really a spoiler much for the novel, but a lot of the conversation that happens in the movie. Well, for those of you who don't know, movie novelizations are made off of the script.
Right.
But sometimes it's not the final draft of the script. It really is the final draft, but movies get cut up, and
it's not always the shooting script. Sometimes they add color in the novel that's not in the film.
That's right. And so there's a whole sequence of Poe Dameron getting off of Jakku that's not in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Which I really thought should have been in the movie because I thought it was very weird that he was like, I'm disappeared from the TIE fighter, and now he's like, and now I'm on Dakar flying an X-wing, and I was like, I missed something in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Snoke anyway. So Snoke says to Kylo Ren in one of their little meetings that he has seen the fall of the Jedi, and he has seen the rise of the Empire and the fall of the Empire and all that stuff. So he's old enough.
Snoke says that.
To Kylo Ren. So he's old enough to watch it all transpire. And he says like, and he's like talking to him. He's like, and what's the reason the Empire fell? And Kylo Ren's like, compassion. He's like, that's right, compassion. That's right. If Darth Vader didn't get any compassion, the Empire wouldn't have fallen.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so
okay, so that makes a big difference.
Yeah,
that makes a big difference.
Yeah,
that would sway me to think that he's Plagueis.
Yeah, so he's just old enough to see all of that happen.
So that's interesting. I don't want to go too far down that because I do want to read the book, and anyone who's listening who hasn't read the book, so I'm not going to ask too many questions about that. But so just hearing that, just going off of what you told me, that would make me think that that's like maybe 95% chance that he's
Plagueis. I mean, there are a lot of old.
Max von Sydow's character, whose name I know there is a name, but I don't know it offhand. But Max von Sydow's character, it would seem, is old enough to have seen the Republic fall and seen the Jedi fall.
Laura San Tekka.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Laura San Tekka would be old enough to have seen all those things fall and the Empire come and then the Empire go, right? Because that only happened in the last 50 years, all told. From fall of Republic to now.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, he's absolutely old enough to see all of that transpire.
Exactly.
He, as this is in the encyclopedia, which you said you're going to do a Barnes & Noble flip through, I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
Which is also not in the novelization, which I think is very interesting that it's in here, but not in the novelization. That village that gets shot up by the First Order is a sacred village. They are all members of what is called the Church of the Force. And they are not Jedi, but they are followers of the Force, and that's where he is. So
that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense why Kylo Ren would know him.
Is my understanding is that he worked with Luke in Luke's what is now failed Jedi Academy. That's my understanding.
This will begin to make things right again. That all fits.
Yeah. You can't deny who your family is. He says you look old, like they haven't seen each other in a while, but probably not since Kylo Ren killed everybody and then, set the Jedi Temple ablaze and was like, I'm Kylo Ren now.
Right.
Yeah.
So one theory I had heard was that, what if Ben is not actually the boy who did that, because all he said is a boy, and all he said was our son, but he never said our son is that boy.
Yes,
it's heavily implied, obviously heavily implied, and my first thought was that. But I heard a theory from someone that like, what if Snoke was actually that person? I don't think the timing adds up right. Like, he looks old.
I think he's too old.
I think he's too old too, but you never know. I was thinking, like, well, benefit of the doubt, like if his species ages fast or whatever. But I don't know. That's a remote possibility.
There's more stuff that I won't spoil for you in the novelization.
I was going to say, from what you said, it sounds like
it's going to be kind of a one-sided conversation. Apparently.
Yeah.
Read the book. Then we can talk.
I will. But the movie's been out for 10 days, dude.
Yeah, I'm on vacation.
Yeah. Well, we're not all on vacation. But
I'm sorry. Where were you?
Where I couldn't read a book.
Oh, yeah.
Or buy a book.
That's true. All right.
I was out of the country.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
But anyway, I mean, dude, and that was before the movie came out. Anyway,
messing with you.
But yeah, so. All right, let's talk a little bit about the new characters. Let's talk about the Rey. Let's talk about the Finn. Let's talk about a little bit about the Poe. I mean, they all get articles because I decided.
Let's talk about the Poe first because you don't get a lot of
That's
the Poe.
True. Yeah.
The Poe, apparently, J.J. Abrams did an interview afterwards. Poe was supposed to die.
Yes, okay, I did hear that.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, like when you watch the movie.
Yeah, when he disappears.
Why he disappears, yeah. And it would give, it does give Finn motivation and all this, like, to complete the mission. I don't think it really takes away to have him come back. I don't think that.
No, I don't think so either. I'm glad that he comes back.
It felt a little bit, obviously not the same, but it felt a little bit like when Han comes back at the end of A New Hope. He's like, woohoo, let's blow this thing. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I thought you were gone. Like, not I thought you were dead, but still, like, I thought you were gone. So it had that kind of a feeling to it.
He's as good as dead to Luke. I thought you were dead in my soul. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. He got his money. That's all he came for.
Yeah. Silly boy. Yeah, I agree with that. Finn, I didn't like when I first saw the movie.
Really?
Yeah. I thought he was funny. Don't get me I thought some of it was. I thought a lot of what he said was funny, but I didn't find his character overly likable. He's almost he almost reminded me of Luke in that early way where he's kind of like, oh, but I'm sad and I'm running and I'm like this and I'm like, yeah, boo-hoo, poor you. A lot of people have problems in the universe. Yeah,
this is a little different than I want power converters or I want to go to the academy. This is like, I was a slave taken away from my family when I was a child, and I just want to get away. They tried to turn me into a killing machine, and I ran away.
Yeah, boo-hoo.
It's a little boo-hoo.
Yeah. Boo-hoo. You wore a cool outfit. Boo-hoo. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm just
no.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I liked him more each subsequent viewing.
Okay.
I particularly he has excellent chemistry with every single person that he talks to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, which made me like John Boyega quite a bit.
Yeah.
I just thought the character himself, what did it for me when he was like, I didn't mind all of it until he was in Maz Kanata's castle.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, they'll give you work." And he was like, "Okay, I'll just go now."
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
Like, you could have hid from them in the Resistance too. Like,
yeah.
It's just,
but I think so his point was like, you cannot beat the First Order. They have a machine that will destroy planets. Like, you can't beat them. So, like, this is suicide. Like, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of here before I get killed.
In some way, the voice of reason.
In some ways,
but
yeah.
But I've watched 3 films. I'll say 3 because the prequels are a little bit more Debbie Downer when it comes to, beating the bad guy.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, evil does win at the end.
Yeah,
so.
right. And so, but you watch 2 movies, really, the New Hope and Jedi, where, they proved him wrong. And we haven't really, at that point in the film, because it's before the Hosnian system gets blown up.
That's right.
You don't really see the might of the First Order yet. You're really just going off of and they're really scary. You gotta trust me. And I'm like, I don't know. And then the plans get blown up, and then I'm like, okay.
So that's why the second, third time you were like, all right, now I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from now. I just needed context more from him, but it's I can understand why they're also like, but that's also, this is interesting, it's also in this little encyclopedia book, because I was very confused about what is the Resistance, why do they have that name, what is the Republic, and blah blah blah.
So there's the First Order, there's a New Republic, and then there's the Resistance, and they tell us that the Resistance is backed and funded by the Republic, but they don't really, it's not very well defined. And I think, like you said before, I think that's intentional. And I think they wanted it to be vague, but understandable. I think they thought they explained it better than they did.
Yes, I don't think, I agree. Because I think everybody at that point of the movie, knew it, and they couldn't, the blinders were there.
Exactly, I agree, yeah.
And so, I finally got it, though.
Okay.
This encyclopedia.
So let's see if my understanding.
The Force Awakens Visual Dictionary is incredibly helpful.
So you explain it to me, and let me see if my understanding is. Actually, wait. Let me try to explain it to you, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So my feeling is that after the collapse of the Empire. You've got this New Republic is formed in reaction to, like, there's the all right, we need a government, so here's a new government.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, but then the what's it called? The First Order rises, kind of like wanting to continue what the Empire had been doing, and where their fleet looks the same. They're kind of trying to be the continuation of the Empire. And then the Resistance is there, it forms to resist the First Order. That's all I got.
that's pretty close.
Okay.
So the New Republic forms, and there's a lot of people in the galaxy that are like, yeah, hurry up with the forming already. You know, where people are very impatient about the New Republic forming. So there's a lot of systems that aren't even part of the New Republic right now.
Okay.
Or the First Order or anything like that. And so the First Order, I mean the New Republic decides not to use Coruscant as their base, and the Senate goes between different systems. Every time they meet, they're on a different planet. And at that time when they get blown up, they're in the Hosnian system.
Got it.
And that's why they all get blown up. And so it totally wipes out the New Republic at that time. Leia, since the formation of the First Order, who were on the Outer Rim in like the unknown, like uncharted parts of the galaxy, where Snoke was, you know, like doing his whatever
Snokiness.
Snoke
and mirrors.
Yeah, that's good. And Snoke, and so, she's kind of the warmonger. Like, they're kind of dangerous. Do you remember what we just went through with the Empire?
Yeah.
And the New Republic's like, psh, you're crazy.
Oh,
so she goes off on her own and forms this little ragtag group. And she's like, screw you guys. Goes off on her own. And there are a few people in the Republic that back her. They're like, we can't really, because it's the unpopular thing to say, so we're just going to give you money secretly. And so when they attack Starkiller Base and they're like, half our fleet's been destroyed, that's literally all of their flight.
The Resistance fleet.
Like, they have 16 ships, 8 of them are gone. You're done now.
Right.
That's it. That's all they have. And so when the New Republic gets blown up, it has literally gone back to what it was, basically.
In the original trilogy,
basically. Except with the First Order not really in power. So now at the end of Force Awakens, nobody's in power. It's
because Snoke is not really, doesn't seem like he wants to be like Supreme Leader or whatever that is, but he's not like Emperor Snoke. And maybe next time we see him, he will be. I don't know, but like
he seems more interested in controlling it from the shadows.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he wants to be at the forefront. He's very willing to let General Hux do all the politicking, and he'll sit back there, you know, being like Lincoln in his giant chair.
Right.
Yeah. That's the
evil Lincoln.
Evil Lincoln. Yeah, that's
evil Wizard of Oz Lincoln.
Yeah, it's the evil, exactly.
Do you think that he's like a tiny little Yoda man?
No,
or do you
I was
think he
thinking
actually is
about
giant?
this. I don't think he's giant like that, but I don't think he's a tiny little Yoda man. I think that's a little too diminishing, like, of the character. Like, I think I'd laugh. Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like, because when you first go in to look for Yoda in Empire, it's like, I'm looking for a great warrior.
Yeah,
and it's surprising that he's small.
That's true.
But you didn't see him 50 feet big first, and then see him 3 feet tall. And so I think it would be very odd if he showed up.
The first time in chronology, the first time we see the Emperor, he's also giant.
Yeah,
he's a giant floating head.
His head is huge,
and then he's just a regular sized man.
Yes, exactly.
So it could be the case there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
I think it's just a larger version of that.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, that's the deal with the Resistance, and so they saw Leia as a warmonger. So when she went back to doing what she did best, she literally went back to doing what she did best.
Okay,
yeah, with like the beginning of A New Hope, where the Senate is still, you know, a thing, and you know, because there's that line in A New Hope, you know, like, you know, the Emperor has blah blah blah, the Senate blah blah blah, talking blah blah blah.
Yeah, the regional governors.
Yes.
All that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's where we've ended up, and that was something I really wanted to know when I watched the movie, and that's why I was like, "You're not telling me enough."
Yeah. Okay.
And so, but now that I know, and now when I knew that, I think I knew by the third No, maybe I didn't know by the third time I saw the movie, but yeah.
I think they were just wary of giving us too much political stuff, too much trade negotiations, too much taxes, too much of any of that, or anything that sounded too much like it.
Yes.
So they were just like, less is more.
Yeah.
And it works. Like, you can still, you're left asking questions, but you can get, okay, these are the bad guys, these are the good guys they destroyed, and now these other good guys are going to come in and try to save the day.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters. And I think they were like, you know what? Less information is better than too much.
That's the good thing about Star Wars. There's really never any question of who the bad guy is and who the good guy is. It's pretty clear from the start.
Unless you're Anakin, then you're very confused.
He's very confused.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Anakin, let's talk about
Kylo Ren.
Let's talk about Kylo Ren.
His grandson?
Darth Vader's grandson.
Yes. Emo Ren.
That Twitter thing is so good. It's so good. But anyway, I liked him a lot from the beginning, and by the end of the movie, I liked him even more.
Okay.
Well, I'm like, I hate you, but
well, yeah. Sure. I liked him at first.
Mm-hmm.
Liked him less. Pretty much whenever he took off the mask, I was like, because Adam Driver's
got an interesting face.
He's got a very punchable face.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Okay.
In real life.
Okay.
I've seen him on Girls a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got a very punchable face. I don't like the characters that he plays ever, and that carries over for me.
This is the first time I've ever seen him in something that I liked his character.
Right.
Because normally,
but it's like, normally I don't like his characters, but like, he took off the mask and I was like, oh, it's you. Like, obviously I knew it was him, but I was like, oh, but now you're Adam Driver again.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're not Kylo Ren.
Right.
You're Adam Driver.
Now you're Adam
my brother
Driver.
said that.
Yeah.
He said as soon as he took off the helmet, it lost all the fun mystique.
It lost the, it just lost any scariness that he had. Like, he was menacing. He was much more menacing when he had the mask on, and when he took it off, I've always thought he's had, like, his accent's kind of unusual. It's not really American, but it's not really British, and it's kind of this. He has a kind of weird pronunciation on some words, and that wasn't there when he had the mask on, but it was there when the mask was off.
I've never noticed that.
It's a little odd, especially when he's talking to Han on that catwalk.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Your son was weak and foolish, so I destroyed him." And it's like, "Are you Irish or what? What? Decide what you are."
Yeah.
Anyway, I just
it's
don't
just
like
the way
him
he talks.
So I know I just don't like him. It's just I just can't help it. Some people just don't like other people, and I just don't like Adam Driver. I'm sure he's a very lovely man. But
he's a Marine apparently.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. That is true. Which when I found that out, I was like, all right, he went up a bunch of notches now.
Yeah. Good for him.
But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But as an actor, I'm just like, I just don't like the way he reads lines and whatever. So he took off the mask, and I was like, put it back on. I like you better with it on. You're more menacing and you're cooler and you're more badass with it on.
I think he's absolutely cooler when and actually
that's just my personal opinion.
And it's funny at the end when he doesn't take the helmet back. I was like, oh, but your helmet, you so much better.
Oh,
in it.
Yeah.
It's like when Spider-Man takes off his mask in every movie, and you're like, just put your mask back
put it on, man.
I liked that we all went into this movie going like he's like the next Darth Vader. And the whole point is that he's trying to be like Darth Vader.
But he's a petulant child.
But he's not.
Right.
He is a Skywalker to the brim.
Absolutely.
That's what I really liked. He's Anakin.
Yeah.
He's Luke. Yeah. He's all of them.
So people said that Anakin was too emo in the prequels.
Yep.
And now you have someone trying to be him who is very emo. And yet it really works here.
It worked, yeah.
Because it's... He's trying so hard, and the very interesting paradigm shift of instead of like I'm good and I'm being called to the dark, he's on the dark side and being pulled to the light and resisting that pull.
Very interesting.
So interesting to see that change.
Yep, I thought that was real good. Actually, in his dialogue with Han on the place with no rails,
the catwalk,
the catwalk with no rails, because the future, or the past,
where they learn from
Star
nothing.
Wars. Yeah, right. And so there's actually some. At the beginning, I noticed one of the times I watched, there's like a little bit of rail, and then it goes
ends.
away.
Yes, I noticed that like the first
why?
time.
Why would you do that?
Like it literally it just like slopes down, and then there's no more railing.
So dumb.
Why would you do that, guys?
God, that was the fall of the Empire,
right there.
But no, but I liked it when he's talking to Han and he's talking about like I don't know if I have the strength to do it and all this stuff. Half his face is in red and the other half is in blue.
Yes, I did notice
and
that.
then when the sun
goes out, it's all red.
That was really well done. And I noticed the red the whole time, but it took me a second viewing, I think, to be like, oh, it's not even just white; it's blue. It's like the blue lightsaber and the red lightsaber, right. And that was really good. And I liked this. he wants to be a Sith so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing about being a Sith, I was really thinking about this. So to be a Sith, you really have to detach yourself from all things that you love, like being a Jedi in its own way. But you have to draw on that pain almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's basically destroying the thing that loves him.
You need to lose
something,
what you love,
right,
and embrace the dark
side. But he didn't really love Han. I don't. Well, he says he doesn't, but I think he does.
But I don't think that's what. I mean, obviously, that's not what put him over the edge.
No. Well, he says that he has lines like, like you think Han Solo's your father, like,
right. But he'll disappoint you.
He would disappoint you,
right.
Which I thought is an ambiguous line because if Rey is Luke's daughter, and Kylo Ren says to her, you feel like Han Solo is the father you never have, and then he just stops and says he would disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
That's an ambiguous line. It could be
like I know I'm his son. He would disappoint you, but it could also be you're his daughter,
and he would also disappoint you.
Okay. I took it in a different way.
Yeah,
I took it. Okay, so you're saying that your actual father Luke would disappoint you.
Yeah,
I took it like either way it's about Han, but I know because I'm his son. Or on the other hand, like trust me, he would disappoint you. You're his daughter too.
Right. I don't think that she's.
I don't think so either. But the first time I was watching it, I didn't know. So
right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, the ambiguous line, blah blah blah. I kind of totally lost my train there, but I do think everyone's talking about that scene as it's like A New Hope because you have the people set up in the right place to watch, and Rey screams no, or Chewie screams quote unquote no, like Luke does with Obi-Wan,
right?
But it's also a parallel of Empire Strikes Back,
yes,
because they're over the big hole, and instead of the light side letting go and falling, it's now the father that sacrifices and falls.
Yeah.
That's also really well done.
So this whole movie was moments like that of like, oh wow, this echoes A New Hope, but it also echoes Empire Strikes Back, and it also like all these echoes.
And that was the thing that detracted from the movie the first time, when I was like, it's too many echoes. But then like that's all Star Wars is. It's all destiny and echoes and retreads, and that's part of what the universe is. And so when I felt like they'd give me something that I've already seen, but I think it's better that way.
Yeah. For me, I like most of the echoes, and there were plenty of them. Things like, the way certain people were called to the Force, or moments like both Rey and Kylo Ren pulling for the lightsaber at the same time. Those things I liked. Like that's clearly a callback to Empire with the lightsaber being in the snow like that. But then there were really the main callback that I didn't really love was Starkiller Base. Like I could have done without another. Hey, we got to blow up this giant planetoid planet destroyer. That's maybe something I could have done without, because that was the one thing that was like, this is just like, that didn't make sense to me in the story. Other things I could be like, well, the Force did it this way. The Force is driving it, but just the First Order deciding we're going to build a bigger Death Star out of a planet and blow up other planets. That I had some.
Okay,
I didn't hate it, but I was just like,
I have mixed feelings on this because I've heard a couple of people say different things on each thing, and one, the science makes no sense to me. Like, if you're draining your son,
the science doesn't make any sense for a number of reasons.
Well, yeah, okay, well, they're in space.
I'll hand wave it away.
Whatever,
that's
whatever. But to me, like, if you're just draining your son, you're going to destroy your planet.
Yes.
You're going to destroy your big giant weapon. Mm-hmm. That just makes zero sense to me whatsoever.
What's your planet now revolving around? Also, the second you drain like anything from your sun, if you drain any mass from your sun, it's going to lose its gravitational pull on your planet, and your planet's going to go flying, and everything on it's going to die.
Right.
But whatever, I will let that go. They did some hand waving on it. That's fine.
That was the thing.
It also should be impossible technically to be able to see the other planets getting destroyed, like, however many light years away, to see it in real time and see the light going, the beams going across space.
Funny,
I'll let it all go.
That one didn't bother me because there's sound in space, so I'm going to let them
That's exactly. I was like, you know what? If there's sound in space, then
Yeah.
The way
They're
light
also
works can be different,
traveling at
whatever.
hyperspeed and parsecs.
I'll let
and,
it all
like,
go. I'll let that part go.
Yeah.
But just the idea that the First Order would think, this is a really great idea, that I had a hard time with.
Okay, now this is the thing that somebody said to me that I thought was really insightful. Do we not just make better weapons of the same weapon? That's what we do. We just try to make better versions of exactly the same thing.
But there's really no precedent for something like, well, we had this one super weapon that failed catastrophically twice, so we made another one that was the same but bigger.
Arguably nuclear bomb testing. Like bomb testing, like, oh, this one didn't work. Maybe we can fix it this way.
But
and
that's
blah blah blah. And
very
it keeps
different
going.
than
also, the First Order didn't make it. The Empire did.
Right.
And I think the only person that carries over is people. I haven't seen him. I looked many times. People say that Captain Admiral Piet is in this movie.
Really?
Like the actor himself is in this movie.
Really?
People said that they have seen him.
Big character, apparently.
No, but I guess he's on Starkiller Base,
okay.
or he's in the what do you call it?
He's not in the visual dictionary.
The assembly. No, he's not. Who is in the visual dictionary though? Is Liam Neeson's son Sam from Love Actually?
Yes, he is, and he's the one that notices that the TIE fighter is being stolen.
Yep. Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, there he is.
Yep.
And the woman next to him in this picture, Chief Petty Officer Unamo, is the woman that is a bleep to Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables when she's in the factory.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
When I saw her, I was like, she looks so familiar. And then
that's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's apparently he's in there, but he's really the only carryover. So. But they're like, oh, well, if we want to be like the Empire, but we want to be better than the Empire. Like, just from that standpoint, I can see why they'd be like, oh, we can do this. Because even like the way, even the way they blow it up is different. Like the shields are down. Like there's a quote unquote a trench run, but
sort
not
of.
in the same way. They're in a trench, but only to get to another point in which they have to go in.
And the only reason why Poe got in was because Han and Chewie blew it up from the inside. That made a hole that he was able to fly in and then shoot.
There were a lot of moving pieces, and they had to enter the planet at light speed. A lot of people have said, like, why didn't they all just go in at light speed? And my answer is always because it's dangerous. Like, they almost died just trying to get in, and that's like the best pilot in the galaxy.
Right.
Of course they're not going to be
also,
everybody's not going to be able to do it.
Now, we did... So, have TIE fighters ever flown at light speed before? Because we did see them fly at light speed. Not in direct approach to the planet,
but... First Order thing, yeah.
Okay, TIE fighters and X-Wings.
X-Wings can go at light speed.
Have we seen that before?
Yeah, because that's how Luke gets to Dagobah from Hoth.
Okay, I don't remember him going in at a light speed, but I wasn't sure if that was just my feeling.
Speed. TIE fighters don't have shields or light speed traditionally
because
the Empire's cheap.
And we know that because Ben in Episode 4 says no, it's a short range fighter.
Yeah,
so the short range fighter wouldn't have to go at light speed; it wouldn't have to go very far.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, I think the only person. Maybe TIE bombers do. Maybe like Darth Vader does.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I don't even think he does. Pretty sure he doesn't.
Interceptors, I don't know.
Because in canon, his Darth Vader's ship is Padme's Queen Naboo cruiser from Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
He takes that and uses it as his own. That's his own personal ship, is Padme's
Really?
Naboo cruiser, yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's super cool. He paints it. It's all black and shiny, and that's his ship.
That's still in canon?
That's canon,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Marvel Comics.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Was that in the Vader comic?
Mm-hmm.
I had missed that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Here's a fun little fact to go with that. J.J. Abrams you mentioned the USS Kelvin, which is the ship that gets destroyed at the beginning of Star Trek 2009. In this movie, Rey tells BB-8 when she first meets him, the town's that way. Be careful not to go over the Kelvin Ridge because you'll drown in the sand.
Oh.
Kelvin was the last name of J.J. Abrams' grandfather.
Oh.
So he sneaks Kelvin into everything he does.
That's awesome.
Isn't that really cool?
That's cool.
So you got Kelvin Ridge, you got USS Kelvin.
That's cool.
Right.
Actually, I did. That's very cool.
That's pretty neat.
That. Yeah. A couple things we haven't talked about yet. There's a lot we could still talk about. So how about
there's a lot we could talk about.
So how about we come back next week? We'll do Star Wars Part 2. You want to do that?
Maybe even sooner than that.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right.
Yeah. Why not?
Sounds good.
Let's call it a
podcast.
And I guess you can find us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter at beerwithgeeks.
That's
and
right.
Facebook at facebook.com/beerwithgeeks.
Yeah. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Overcast. You can find us on Stitcher Radio, all those fun places. And leave us reviews, because that helps us a lot. And let us know what you thought of The Force Awakens, what you thought of this particular little piece of podcasting. Actually, it would really mean a lot to us if you're in a position, if you're not driving or something, if you'd stop and leave us a review right now. That would really, really help us out. So please do that for us.
I do have a review here from -16-. 5 stars, says fun beer and geeky things. I'm all ears. Smiley face beer emoticon.
Yay!
I like it. Short, simple.
Thank you. -16- Rendar.
Yep. I was going to say Rendar.
All right. Star Wars geeks to the last. But we'll be back real soon with some more Star Wars chat.
Indeed.
Because there's just too much to talk about. So until next time, may the Force be with you.
Cheers.
Cheers.